Around the middle of last year, I bought a bunch of MBTI related books because I figured if I was going to continue claiming to be knowledgeable about typology, I should at least have read a few books on it, right? I'd already bought and read this one the year before. This is Gifts Differing by Isabel Myers. But then after a while, I finally decided it was time to expand my knowledge beyond just the one book. A lot of these were actually recommended by Mike from NF Geeks. This one, this Introduction to Type, is basically a reference manual that Isabel Myers wrote on just the 16 types. And this is important because if you want a reliable description of any of the types that's actually based on Carl Jung's cognitive functions, but is also applicable and easy to understand, you want to go to the source. And I'll come back to this in a bit. First, I want to talk about this. Please Understand Me Too by David Keirsey. Probably the most popular book among the MBTI community, and the bane of my typology experience. All those annoying ISTP and SP stereotypes that I don't relate to, the ones that made me initially dismiss ISTP as a possibility, are in this book. And I'll go ahead and read a few of them from Keirsey's description of the ISTP, or the crafter as he calls it. The nature of the ISTPs is most clearly seen in their masterful operation of tools, equipment, machines, and instruments of all kinds. Crafters are the true masters of tool work, with an innate ability to command tools and to become expert at all the crafts requiring hand tool skills. Okay, I can operate a hand drill and a screwdriver, I can pound nails into the wall. I never would have considered myself a master at tools. This is all, that was all in the first paragraph. That's like, it makes it sound like those things define an ISTP. Often excited, they trust their impulses, yearn for impact, seek sensation, prize generosity, and aspire to virtuosity. I don't know who these people are that he's describing, but I'm certainly not one of them. Crafters also seek recreation on impulse, taking off at any time just because they feel like it to play with their toys. The surgeon shifts his schedule in order to get in a round of golf, or the carpenter is late to the job site because the surf was up or the fish were biting. Not only impulsive, crafters are fearless in their play, risking themselves again and again despite frequent injury. Okay, if this had been the first typology book that I picked up, I would have just figured there's no way I'm an ISTP, because that sounds nothing like me. Now, if you're thinking that any of that sounds familiar, well, you know, basically all those horrible ISTP descriptions on the internet and people's misconceptions of what ISTPs are supposed to look like are basically Keirsey's fault, because they originated from here. Without this, we'd only have the basic ISTP profile as Isabel Myers originally described it, as it should be. Okay, so this is the ISTP profile. All of this page is ISTP right here. I'll go ahead and read just the first paragraph. People with ISTP preferences carefully observe what is going on around them. Then when the need arises, they move quickly to get to the core of a problem and solve it with the greatest efficiency and the least effort. They are interested in how and why things work, but find abstract theories uninteresting unless they can quickly apply them. They often function as troubleshooters. ISTPs resist regimentation and rules, thrive on variety and novelty, and enjoy the challenge of solving a new, concrete, extensive problem. That's totally me. Let's see. ISTPs are likely to be detached and objective critics, analytical and logical problem solvers, practical and realistic, factual and pragmatic. And if I go on to read the rest of the profile on this page, I totally relate to pretty much everything on here. And that's because it focuses strictly on just the ISTP's cognitive processes, how the ISTP perceives the world, processes information, communicates with others. And all these things are based on the use of introverted thinking and extroverted sensing. Nothing about careers or hobbies or interests or behavioral tendencies, all of which can be easily influenced by external environment. Now, it's fine if you want to observe some of these things in people that you happen to know are ISTPs, because that's one of the fun parts of applying typology. I do it all the time when I talk about NFs or SJs. But when you start acting like these things define an ISTP, like David Keirsey does in his book, then that's when things get messed up. So anyway, Please Understand Me Too is still an interesting book. I gotta say, David Keirsey still does a great job at the main things he'd set out to do in pointing out the differences between the temperaments. He just loses points in his ISTP description as far as I'm concerned. So, if you want to know if you're an ISTP, or if someone you know might be an ISTP, just stick to the MBTI basics. Please.